Okay, so in the last video I showed you how to put the album base together and I covered it with paper. In this video I'm going to start decorating the album. And I just wanted to quickly show you the tags that I'm putting in all of the pockets. Basically what I'm doing is I'm putting 2 large photo mats, one on either side, and I've rounded all 4 corners of the photo mats, and I'm going to round the bottom corners of the tags, and then I'm going to use the purple cloud punch to scallop the top of the tag. You can see the shape there, and I'm just using a brayer on this tag to get it nice and adhered. And so you can see it's journaling on the back, and that is the Basic Gray Basics in white. The white from the Basic Gray Basics collection matches the My Mind size Sunshine papers very well. So here I just have a mat for a 3x4 photo with some paper around it, and I'm wrapping some orange string around the photo mat base, and I'm going to tape it on the back with some Scotch tape, and I'm not going to adhere it to the front, that way a photo can slide underneath for attaching later. Then I'm just going to add adhesive to the back and stick the whole thing down to my bag. And to add a little bit more color and interest to the page, I'm going to use the Colorbox Fluid Chalk ink in yellow cadmium to stamp just a round medallion stamp on white cardstock. And then I'm going to cut it out with my nestabilities in my Big Shot because I don't have a punch this size. And so I'm just taping the nestability exactly where I want it so it doesn't move around. Then I cut out a slightly larger brown one, and I'm going to stick them together and adhere them to the page. And I'm going to adhere them half on and half off the photo mat using some foam tape. And this is the 3M double-sided foam mounting tape that I use here. And I like it a lot because I can cut it to whatever size I need. I'm only putting it on half. That way it can still go over the photo and lay flat. Next, I'm adding some bling from Recollections. And honestly, I didn't like it very much. The plastic is just not very stiff, and it was hard to get it shaped, but I got it there eventually. And then I'm taking this yellow butterfly from K & Company, and I'm adding it in the upper corner of the page just to have more of the yellow throughout. And I'm going to use that same Recollections bling to give it a trail, a little butterfly trail. And then when I'm done adding that, I'm going to add more of that same bling to the pocket where that blue flower is. And that blue flower is not going to stay there. I ended up changing my mind about it. So I'll be removing it later and replacing it with something else, but you'll see when I do that. And then I wanted to add something to the bottom corner, so I had 3 circular items on the page with the flower center, the medallion stamp, and the so I added a button to the corner there. And now I'm adding a nice white Prima, and it looks a lot better. And I'm using Scotch Quick Dry to add some butterflies, some very teeny tiny butterflies that I cut out with the Memory Box butterfly die. I think it's called Butterfly Delight. And it cuts out a ton of teeny tiny little butterflies all at once. And so I used it to cut out a bunch of blue butterflies, which you will see throughout this album. There's blue butterflies on almost every single page. So they're kind of a unifying element to the book, so that all the pages have something in common. So now moving on to the next page, and I'm determined to use this blue flower, but I'm not going to put it there either. It was hard to give it a place to live. I use that same yellow ink to stamp a flower onto some white cardstock, which I then cut out with my nestabilities and backed with brown cardstock. And now I'm just pulling together some layers of white flowers from the Petaloo Layers of Color, or Color Me Crazy, or something like that. I'm going to have a purple, or a blue flower and a gold flower. And I used the Patina Glimmer Mist for the blue flower, and it matched the blue in this collection perfectly. The orange flower killed me. I ended up using 3 or 4 different colors of Glimmer Mist on the flower to get it exactly the color I wanted. So it was hard to match the kind of orangey goldy yellow from this collection. So I'm layering the orange flower on top of the blue flower, and then I added foam tape to the back of the stamped flower, and we're going to add that next. And then I'm going to add more of those tiny little butterflies from Memory Box. And they're all different shapes. They're not all identical. So it's really fun to mix and match them and use them. So that's what the finished piece looks like. And it's going to go in that corner there as soon as I've put my photo mat. So I used my largest nestability in this shape, which I believe is 18, I think. And I cut it out with white cardstock. And then I wanted my photo mat on it to be slightly smaller, not as small as the next nestability down. So I traced inside the die and then cut it out with my scissors. And that gives me a really thin 1/8 of an inch border all the way around, instead of more of a 1/4 inch border, which is what the next die down would be. So I'm going to adhere that to the page with foam tape to give it a little dimension. And then I'm going to do the same with the flower. I'm going to put a little foam tape and then stick it down. So I'm just peeling that off so I can add my flower, my little butterflies. And then I wanted to pull some more white into this page, so I tied a bow with my Bow Easy and some seam binding and added that, and then I added a little heart button to the back. All right, so next I'm moving on to the next page, and I'm adding a mat for a 3x4 photo to this white cardstock, and then I'm going to glue it down to the page. And then very simply, I'm finally going to use that blue flower in the upper right corner of this particular page. And that way I have blue on both sides of the page. And before I stick down the blue button, I'm going to or the blue flower, I'm going to use some gray Prima Satin crystals to add some swirls. This collection has a lot of gray in it, and gray and yellow look very dynamic and very nice next to each other. It's a very elegant look. So the gray swirls will look great throughout this album. And then I stuck the blue flower to another white flower from that bag of white flowers, and then I'm adding to the corner of the page. And then I'm stamping Things I Love inside that white label on the paper collection. And later on, I stamped Family on a piece of white cardstock and cut it out to adhere it to the opposite page, which you'll see in the finished album. Thanks for watching.